Sveiki, įsijungia nauja Lietuva Amerika serija. Šioje serijoje pokalbis, kuris galėjo vykti tiek Madride, tiek Vilniuje, tiek Vašingtone, tam pačiam. Su Žygiu šiandien kalbame su Pablo Hispán, vienu ryškiausių Ispanijos opozicijos balsų atstovaujančių Partido Popular. Kalbame apie Pedro Sánchezo, dabartinį Ispanijos premjerą ir jo valdomą korupcinę valstybę. Bandymus užgniaužti kritiką ir augantį visuomenės pasipiktinimą bei nusivylimą. Tačiau šis epizodas tai ne tik apie Ispaniją. Tai perspėjimas ir Lietuvai, nes kai vietiniai socbebrai ima griauti pasitikėjimą teisingumu, skaidrumu ir demokratija, mes tampame labai panašus į tuos, nuo kurių tikime skirtis. Gero klausimo.
Hello, my friend.
Oh my God. So are you in Granada?
I am in Madrid now. I am in Yes,
Okay.
yes, because we still are on session. We have debates at the Congress. Tomorrow we will have a committee, European Affairs Committee, and so on. Although this afternoon I'm going to Sevilla to a party meeting. So we are on fire.
Okay, Pablo, let me just present Vincentas, who is, you maybe met him in Valencia. We've been together, and he's helping me. He's international secretary of Young Christian Democrats.
Okay. So he will be a very important politician in less than 10 years. So I am most interested in him than in you.
Un gran placer de conocerle, señor.
Igualmente.
Podemos empezar.
Very nice Spanish. Very nice Spanish.
Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. So maybe let's start little by little. Mr. Hispán, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. This was Gigis's idea because we know that, I don't think it's crazy to say that the things that are happening in Spain right now are absolutely insane. With every week there's a new scandal with Sanchez, with new corruption and new details about just how deep that corruption goes. So we just wanted to spend a couple minutes of your time to discuss this and to inform people in Lithuania and people of our audience about exactly what's going on. So if you could first of all give a short introduction about who you are, and then tell us a little by little what's happening in Spain, and then we can evolve into a bigger discussion.
Okay, thank you, and first of all, thank you for having me, and I love Lithuania, and what a tremendous work are you doing defending Europe in the eastern frontier now in these troubled times for our continent. I am Pablo Hispán. I am member of the Popular Party. I'm an MP from Granada. I'm also chairman of the European People's Party of the Council of Europe. And I'm in the Foreign Affairs Committee, European Union, and Defense Committee. I'm a university professor, and I have been in politics for the last 25 years. I'm also, as I have told you, a professor at the university. I teach U.S. foreign policy, and I'm PhD. So in Spanish history. I have worked at the United Nations, for the United Nations in New York, and I have studied also in NYU in New York. So that's my political and my university background. But the most important issue in my life is that I'm very close friend of Žygimantas Pavilionis, and I'm member of United for Ukraine, and very involved in helping and supporting Ukraine in this war.
So, Pablo, also maybe to provoke you a bit more, with the very similar kind of features of those socialists in Europe, look to Fico, look to even Georgian Dream, they start in the beginning, being nasty in internal politics, but sooner or later they side with China's and Russia's. They block everything we do in NATO. Also, Spanish socialists are very active with promoting Palestinian independence, with links to Hamas terrorists and Iran. They just more or less, blocked NATO summit. So what's happening with those socialists? Because we have also socialists in Lithuania that seems, by the way, to support your socialist on this language issue.
Mhm.
They supported, but thanks God, our family blocked
That's right.
this minority language. And why it is dangerous?
Yeah, Sanchez is the most radical extremist politician that we have had in Spain in the last 50 years. He has break all the internal consensus, but during the last 6 years, 7 years, beginning of his mandate, he has behaved as a good socialist outside and nasty socialist in Spain. So when we went to Brussels to explain, okay, he's radical, he's extremist, he's with the most anti-European forces of the left and so on. Our colleagues didn't believe us because they saw that he was a good socialist and he accomplished always in Europe in Brussels as a good socialist, as a good social democrat, and so that okay, those EPP opposition people are very crazy and so on, and they use they bring to Brussels national issues in the international arena and so on, and the people didn't believe us and didn't think that the things were not going as bad in Spain as the reality was going on. In the meantime, he break all the consensus and he used all the nasty tools as police or Hungarian government to control the judiciary system, to control the constitutional court, to control the prosecutor. He breaks all the breaks, all the breaks, all the balance of power. And when we bring the issue to Brussels, they didn't believe us and so on because there in Brussels he accomplished a good point. What has happened? He has never had a majority. He always depends in the extreme left and extremist pro-independence political parties. He has governed always with the extreme left and the communist party inside the government. So half of the government is anti-NATO. Half of the government always called to withdraw from NATO. When in 2022 we have here the NATO summit, half of the government were demonstrating against NATO, but the allies were blind about that because everything was going fine. The Prado dinner was incredible in Spain. It's an incredible country, and everybody was happy. What has happened? That in 2023 he lost the elections. We won the elections, but again he shaped a majority with the extremist political parties, and because of his political weakness inside, he needs to use all the tools for trying to maintain his coalition. And one of the tools is foreign affairs. So that's why, in the question of Israel and the attack against Israel, he supports Palestinians and he has been praised by Hamas. There are quotes by Hamas saying, thank you for the position of Sanchez. In the question of NATO now, they need to increase the budget. He has said no. He has signed inside the meeting. He has been silent inside, but he has said no. Why? Okay, it's a difficult decision. A lot of people could be and could be unhappy to increase this budget, but you must have responsibility, and you must be good ally with the people that are suffering in the East Europe. He said no because he used in a foreign policy to his internal needs and to try to consolidate his political base. He's more weak and more weak, and he's using more and more those issues. So he has break all the national balance of power issues, and also in the foreign affairs arena. Now everybody shows who is Sanchez.
Well, if I may, this is all very concerning, but this is just the classic Sanchez that we've known for so many years already. But you mentioned something I think very crucial. You mentioned now that he's using dirty tricks to play with the judges, with the constitutional court, and I heard some things about even some strange things happening in the internal party election process. Could you walk us through that?
Yes. Everything has been with him corrupt from the very beginning. Now we know everything because one of his very close political ideas has been put in jail, and he has record everything, and the police has take those records. And now in Spain, everybody knows that he when in 2017, when he runs to be party leader, he cheat the elections inside the party leader. He has been funded with dirty money from prostitution and so on from his family, and there has been a corruption net from the very beginning in the public works ministry, the ministry with more funds in Spain, around 20 billion euros of funds for doing public works, motorways, trains, and so on. All has been corrupt by the ministries that those ministries were member of and the number two of the party. So the party and the government were extremely connected. So now, because the investigation of the judges and the police, now we have known, and the problem that he has had is that one of the ideas of the ministry has record everything. Because at the very beginning, they deny everything and say, no, that's the political judges and extreme right judges and so on. And we are honorable persons and so on. But when the records have been put in the newspapers, everything has blown up.
Wow.
Well, dirty money and deny everything is something very socialist, and we know it's also from the Union socialist. But tell me a bit more about the Russian links, because in Lithuania, he also, socialists, our socialists are saying, oh, he's just a good socialist, no links to Russia, nothing related with those minorities. It's constitutional right of those minorities. But I remember you saying in Kiev that he's buying 10 times more Russian gas than supporting Ukraine. So what about those Russian links?
Well, from the very beginning, he has been in the low part of the support of Ukraine. We are the fourth economy of the euro, and I think the 20th country in supporting Ukraine, always doing the less. At the very beginning of the invasion, he sent hydroalcoholic gel and gloves, and he said that he was not going to send weapons to Ukraine, because our political pressure at the end, he sent weapons and so on, and now he's sending the low amount of weapons that he had. Because, for example, Spain has a Patriot battery in Turkey, because the Syrian war and so on. It is not necessary this Patriot battery. We can send this Patriot battery to Ukraine. Ukrainians are asking that. We are the Popular Party asking the government, why don't you send this battery to Ukraine? And he said, no, I'm not going to send it. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable because it's in Turkey. It's not protecting Spain. So we can send it for free. Those batteries. This battery to defend their space of Ukraine. But he's not. He doesn't know. And about for example, he has sent 12 tanks to Ukraine, and we have buy more. We have buy gas in amount of 500 tanks to Russia. So we are finance the Russian war and aggression against Ukraine, and he said nothing about that. Nothing about that. He sent money to and support to Ukraine in amount 1 billion, and buying around 25 billion to Russia. So that's the balance. That's his support. And also here in Spain, we have seen how the Russians are moving, how the Russians killed, for example, this soldier that he with the helicopter he went to Ukraine and so on, and he was killed here in Spain, and the government didn't say nothing. We know that there are a lot of properties of Russians and so on, and the Putin family and so on. They have properties in Spain, in the east and south of Spain, and they don't say nothing. They are preparing to negotiate with Putin. So he's playing with both cards. So it's unbelievable. And also, for example, Spain has very important connections with Latin America. We can press in the global south. And I know that the United States, Sigis, when we were in Washington, how the U.S. administration asked, please press in the global south, and Spain is not pressing the global south for those countries to support Ukraine.
Well, this all sounds very concerning, and I mean, we knew about the way that Sanchez is how would you say this, kind of dragging his feet when it comes to taking a real stance on the most important issues. So it sounds like you have a disaster there at home in Spain with the absolute corruption with Sanchez, disaster when it comes to international policy. So the question arises, how is Sanchez still in power, and when can we finally get a good enough result for Partido Popular and the rational forces in Spanish politics to win and actually put Spain on the right path?
Yeah, that's the question. Why he don't fall? Because he's now in extremely weak position because the judicial investigations and so on. Because in Spain we are a parliamentary system. There are 350 MPs, and the forces that we won the fall of Sanchez, we have 171 votes. So he knows that there is not a possibility of a motion of no confidence that could be approved. Why? Because it's impossible that the nationalist votes could vote in the same way with the extreme rights, with Vox. So he knows that it's impossible, this mix of extreme nationalists and from the independents and the extreme right. Because of this, he knows that there is not a possibility of an alternative majority in the parliament. So he can stay, although the country is sink. There is a sink in the foreign investors. They are not coming here because his policies and so on, and the political problems that he has inside the party. So although he said that for him it's better to resist than to accomplish as a normal politician. Look, in Spain it's mandatory that every year the government try to pass a budget. We have not budget in the last 3 years. In this term, from 2023, the government has not just passed the law. He has not sent a budget to the parliament. So everything is unstable. Everything is bizarre. Imagine a government with no budget. In every country, if a government doesn't pass a budget, they call for elections. In Spain, they don't send the budget. So it's an unbelievable political situation.
It's unbelievable, absolutely. Sorry, Ajit, to interrupt you, but one question keeps returning to me. I mean, with all of these, with the obvious incompetence, let's be honest, with the current government, and also with the let's call it questionable practices of stealing elections within the party. How's his party still okay with this? Is there any movement within the party to remove Sanchez from the chairman position, or is anything happening like that?
He is against former socialist presidents. For example, Felipe González. Felipe González was a socialist prime minister of Spain during the 80s and very important in Spain, and he's blaming him. But what's happening is that the socialists have lost in Spain most of their political powers. They don't win. They don't have any autonomous government. Just only two, or three. Sorry, Catalonia, Navarra, and Asturias. Navarra and Asturias is very tiny. Very important is Catalonia. So they have lost the majority of the cities and the majority of the autonomous regions. The only big power that they maintain in a coalition government is the national government. So that's make that the party act as a castle all inside this castle, and saying that they must maintain this last resort of power, because if not, they are going to become as the PASOK in Greece or as socialists in Italy and so on. They are going to disappear. So this fright that they have in Spain is the reason that there is not a big movement inside the party against him. This movement will appear in the moment that he will lose the government in the next elections, but not before.
Pablo, my last question. I was trying to explain to Lithuanians that this is dangerous to recognize those minority regional languages in EU, because Russians are just waiting. I was just in Moldova. A lot of populations are speaking Russian, as well as in Latvia, as well as in Ukraine. So if Sanchez is doing it, I feel that Russians will do the same with our future members or even current members, and rise the question of Russian minority language in EU. What are the links with those regions here?
There are two very important things that everybody must take on account. First of all, the Russians are using all the divisions that we have in Europe to trying to make them bigger and try for divided us. For example, now there is a riot in a tiny town in Spain with immigration and so on. So we have seen that from the Russians' websites and Russian media, they are encouraging and radicalize the people, trying to make the things worse. So everything that divide the society, is being used by the Russians to make this division bigger and bigger. In Spain, we have a very big political struggle in 2017 with extreme nationalists and with the nationalist government in Catalonia, that they try to call for independence, independence referendum, and so on. There was a Russian interference. They use Russian money. They use Russian websites and so on. So one of the issues that the Russians are doing and are using to divide Spain, that is a very important country in Europe, is the question of nationalism in Catalonia. There are links, there are connections, there are troubles, and there is money and support and everything. Because of his necessity of those votes in the parliament, Sanchez, with those extreme nationalist party, has agreed to promote the official language of Catalan, Basque, and Galician inside the European Union. This issue is going to be an issue that makes that go in the way of the Balkan Spain. So balkanize the situation, not just only in Spain, also in Europe. We need to more unify Europe and more united Europe, not things that divide and make more difficult between us to understand and to speak among each other. So that's issue goes in the wrong direction. That makes and it's just only a political payment. This is the socialists has never agreed with that issue. The socialists have never put this in his political platform. They has never said go to elections saying we are going to promote those languages in the European Union. It is only a political payment for the votes of the extreme nationalists. that it's going in the wrong direction, and it's going to be more. It's going to be to make Europe more weak and not more strong.
Thank you, Pablo. From my side, as on my T-shirt, we have to make Russia small again, not big again, including in Spain, including everywhere. And thank you really for all your effort. Even in previous parliaments,
Yes.
we started to travel with you to Kiev. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. I already lost the
Yes.
count. And we're traveling again in August with you. You made 2 trips with me to DC and I remember your statements to Americans. You better listen to those Lithuanians before you have your own new Pearl Harbor. They're trying to rescue you from Pearl Harbor. So thank you for this solidarity, Pablo, really. And see you soon in Kiev.
Yes, thank you, Tigis. No, we are going to see in Warsaw, August 23. Don't forget that the starting point is Warsaw.
Thank you, Pablo.
Great.
So biggest.
And Vicenta,
Realmente le agradezco mucho por su tiempo y por sus ideas. Fue un gran placer.
igualmente, y por tu muy bonito español.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias. Lindo.
Okay.
Chao.
Bye.
Kai kalbam apie kovą su korupcija, nėra kitų šalių istorijų, taip sakant. Yra tik vienas bendras frontas - tiesos, skaidrumo ir demokratijos pusėje. Pablo primena, kad cinizmas gimsta tada, kai valdžia ima naikinti atskaitomybę, o žmonės nebesitikė pokyčių iš esmės ir kaip svarbu to nepriimti kaip naujos normos. Klausykimės, mokykimės ir neleiskime Lietuvai nueiti tuo pačiu keliu. Tikiuosi, kad serija patiko, prašau komentuokite, dalinkitės ir susitiksim kitąsyk. Iki.